Here are some ways that you should be looking at figuring out your running pace for a triathlon. Probably want to be a hero at the finish line. I haven't hired you yet, by the way. Alright, trainiacs. Good afternoon. So last week I did a video on how to pace the bike, and in a lot of those comments was, how do I pace the run? Excellent question. The run is a little bit harder to pace than the bike, but I would say that it's probably more important because the run is where you can lose a ton of time. You're not necessarily going to make up a ton of time, but you can certainly get into a race and at least have the run be something that doesn't take a ton of time away from your overall race time. So if you can have a running pace that you know that you can hold that is similar to the best running pace that you can hold in just a flat out running race personal best, that's really all you can hope for in your running race. Now, getting that pace figured out is the trick. Here are some ways that you should be looking at figuring out your running pace for a triathlon. Number one is heart rate, and this is probably a more consistent way to look at running pace than your actual pace is, especially when you start traveling for races. Like when I went down to Campeche, it was after an entire winter of training out here in the frozen tundra. And then all of a sudden I go down to Campeche and it's hotter than Hades. I'm not built for that. So even though we had trained for a running pace of about 4:30 per kilometer, we didn't know if I was going to be able to do that because we didn't know how I was going to react to the heat. So what Coach Pat did for me was he set a top cap on my running pace and said, whether it feels good or it feels bad, your heart rate can't go over that cap because that's your danger zone. There's a couple of ways that you can figure out your max heart rate. Number one is on a bike. Number two is on a treadmill. The way on the bike is safer. The way on the treadmill, you might get spit off the back of the treadmill, but it's more accurate. In both tests, what you're looking to do is start off at a comfortable pace. Every minute, you increase the intensity, the speed, and you mark down your heart rate and how hard it feels on a scale of 0 to 10. Let's say in my case, it'll be like 100, then 104, then 109. And then when you get to like a perceived exertion of 5 to 6, it's gonna get up to around 130, 140. When you start maxing out, your heart rate is gonna level out. So increasing that speed every single minute might take my heart rate from a 177 to a 178, and then again to a 179. And when the increase in speed doesn't really result in an increase in heart rate, that's about when you max out. Fair warning though, your legs are probably gonna give out before you give in on your heart rate. Hence, you might be spit off the back of a treadmill, and that's why we often do these on the bike. So in my case, we ended up coming up with a max heart rate on the bike of 180. That's my max. We don't want to be hitting that because that's maxed out, and you want to be pacing yourself and pulling yourself a fair bit back from that. So what Coach Pat had me do was that 180 was what the test said, but in the race on the bike, I wasn't allowed to go over 165 with my heart rate, and then on the run, I wasn't allowed to go over 170. It's a little bit higher on the run because your body is carrying your body weight, so that added 5 to 10 beats a minute is where that slightly higher heart rate comes in, but you can still use your max heart rate from the bike. Just know that it's gonna be about 5 to 10 beats higher. So that's how you can figure out your running pace based off of max heart rate on the bike. Now, you are gonna need to know what type of pace you should have as a bit of a guideline. One of the best ways to do that is by doing long simulation road races. So let's say you're doing a sprint triathlon, you wanna be doing 5K road races. You're doing an Olympic, you wanna do 10K road races. It doesn't have to be a measured road race, you can just do it yourself, but figure out what your max pace is, your personal best, and then somewhere around, say, 10%, give or take a few percent of that, that's gonna be about what your pace is going to be in a triathlon. So in my case, my 5K personal best is around like 19:15. My 10K personal best is just around 40. My half marathon personal best is around 128. And determining whether you are 10% slower than your personal best, or 5% slower than your personal best, or 15% slower than your personal best is based off of your overall fitness and the length of time that you've been in triathlon. The longer you've been in triathlon and the fitter you are, the closer you're going to be able to get that triathlon time down to your fresh personal best time. So in my case, I'm taking that 19:15 personal best run, and I'm looking for about a 20 to 20 and a half minute run in a sprint triathlon. The half Ironman triathlon, I haven't yet nailed this, and this is a Coach Pat project for Austin coming up. I'm taking that 1:28 half marathon, and I'm trying to do somewhere around a 1:35 half marathon in the half Ironman. So do those running tests, do the road races, do those measured distances where you see what your body is capable of, and those numbers will give you a bit of a measure of dialing it back. As far as figuring out your pacing strategy, go out slow. 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 As I mentioned just yesterday, I did not quite nail this in my Campeche race. And when you go out fast, you're setting yourself up for failure. It's quite hard to go out fast, spend a bunch of energy, and then try to hang on to it. What's easier to do is to go out slow, reserve a bunch of energy, and then as you feel good and your heart rate is in check, it's easier to pick it up or even just hold on to your pace. Get in the habit of doing brick workouts where in the first 1, 2, 3 miles, you're going out and you are holding yourself way back. And even though you might feel good, you have to get in the habit of knowing how far you've got to pull yourself back and being able to feel that pace, which will probably feel quite slow because you're running around the transition zone and people are cheering for you and you feel great and you're going out there and you're like, oh, I'm gonna kill this run. Doesn't quite happen that way. Slow yourself back. Do you want to be a hero coming out of transition, or do you want to be a hero at the finish line? Probably want to be a hero at the finish line. Run pacing. And I'm sure now people are going to ask for swim pacing. If you're interested in swim pacing, that's a little bit harder to figure out because you don't have a watch. But if you are interested in figuring out how to figure out your swim pacing, like button. This lighting is just crispy white, huh? Whoa! It's everyone's favorite light, the ice light. Got some podcast planning to do with. You know what they say about working with family members? Especially one that's smarter than you at something, like interviewing. It's bound to go well. That we want to ask, just like call it.
That is what you do.
Point. Oh, really? Well, I don't know these things. We gotta. How am I supposed to know that you know that? Problems already. I haven't hired you yet, by the way.
First question, are you wearing pants? Taren did not want to wear pants. Made him put on pants. You don't have to. We can't see you.
All right, Trainiacs. I think we have a pistol of a first interview
Call
together.
everything a pistol.
Everything is a pistol when we do it.
Gotta find a new word.
Crackerjack. How do you feel about said upcoming interview with, we're not going to say who it is, Schmiley?
It's going to be great.
You're talking like this and the microphone's right away.
It's gonna be great.
There you go. These no triathlon Kims. I'll tell you. All right, Trainiacs. Big things are happening. Big things. triathlonTaren.com/podcast info, and I'll keep you updated on the podcasting as it happens. She knows a lot more than me about interviewing. And she's not going to let me forget it, is she?
Why should I?
Exactly.